Most players know these fourth voicings. But great players also know these voicings. In this video, I'm going to give you the secret to great fourth voicings, or as some folks call them, quartal voicings. And I'm going to show you some crunchy quartals. So let's look at the foundation here. We've got four voicings that are widely used, and they're great voicings. We're in the key of C minor here, and I'm primarily improvising over a C minor pentatonic. And the four voicings, they're all stacked perfect fourths, right? So we're always building up from the bottom. So we start on the root, C, F, B flat, two perfect fourths. And then we go to the second, same thing, perfect fourth, and then the fourth, perfect fourth, and then the fifth, same thing. So these are great, but they don't give you a lot of drama in terms of like harmonic ingenuity or sort of unusual sounds. So anything that you do kind of has to be rhythmic, or it has to be melodic, in your right hand to kind of spice things up a little bit. But this is a fantastic foundation. Where we want to take this next before we get to our crunchy quartals, which is really going to spice things up, is to learn diatonically stacking up all the voicings throughout the C Dorian. So if we start again with our C, F, B flat, we're just going to move up diatonically, stacking. Now, when we say diatonic, it's just a fancy word for moving throughout the scale. C Dorian. So now that we have those, now we kind of got something that we can start sinking our teeth into a little bit. Especially between these voicings. If we go between the second, and again, we're looking at that bottom note of the voicing, from the second to the minor third, that's giving us a little bit of mini crunch. That's not truly a crunchy quartal, but it's giving us a little bit because we're going from perfect fourths to actually a tritone and a perfect fourth. So there's two different places this occurs, between the second and the third, and the sixth and the seventh. So the sixth, two perfect fourths. The seventh actually has the tritone on top. Down here, the tritone was on bottom. Now the tritone's on top. So that's that diatonic movement. Now let's get into the crunchy quartals, a ridiculous term that we've come up with for something that's actually really hip sounding and very useful, okay? And this is what it sounds like. Something that would interest you in learning how to do, come this way. Let me show you. I've got 5 for you, all right? Now we're building up. That's our standard coming off the 1. But we're going to learn each of these 5 in relation to where they come from. What is the alteration? And I'm going to tell you why. So here we go. That's off the 1. We're going to move up to the 2. And this is our first crunchy quartal. We're taking those perfect fourths and just dropping that bottom voice down a half step. And the reason we want to learn these and to hear them and to internalize them based off of that diatonic origin for them is so that when we riff, we can kind of hear that difference and start to apply it in that way. That's straight diatonic. That's with the crunchy, because you can actually use both of them. becomes another variable you can throw in there. That's why this stuff sounds really subtle when you hear people do it. You can almost miss it. Okay? So that's our first one. Now we're going to move up to the fourth, and we're going to drop down that bottom note. That's crunchy quartal number 2. Right? Again, we want to hear it where it starts from and then how it's altered. All right, let's keep moving up now to the fifth. So we've got G, C, F. We're going to do the same thing. This is crunchy quartal number 3. We're going to drop down that bottom note. And again, when we're riffing, difference. All right, that's number 3. Let's go to number 4. We're at the 6th. So we got A, D, G. This time, we're going to drop down the bottom 2 notes. So we got A flat, D flat, G. And you see how these work, even though I'm not playing out or planing or any of that stuff. Nothing wrong with it, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm sticking with pretty much that C minor, either Dorian or pentatonic. I am adding in that, a little bit of blues stuff, but it's C minor. So it gives you those great variations. All right, so we got number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Now the final one is moving up to the root and dropping down just the bottom note. Okay? 5. And this is a little bit functional. G7, sharp 9, 3rd, 7th. You can kind of think about it like that. But it works really well going back and forth from just that regular root position that we started. Okay? So there you have them. And when you combine them with the diatonic and the standard ones, to get to some fun stuff. All right? So there's your crunchy quartals. Have fun with them. Happy practicing. Peace and piano.